Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible. So this is a routine check. Mic testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. I know I'm audible. So this is just to grab your attention. So today is the last day of June 2026, and we know there are only 30 days in June. So today is 30th of June 2026, and let's start with another blog. Sorry, let's start with another session of the Hindu analysis. So yesterday I watched a lot of blogs, right? So that's why it was quite natural. So let's start with today's analysis session. Good morning, everyone. So today we have like a very important newspaper analysis because we'll be covering a few important news items. Let's see what is inside this Pandora's box, and we open this Pandora's box every day, and there is something new every day that we cover, right? So today we have a quiz on the removal of the Chief Election Commissioner of India. Again, as a regular practice, we will solve 10 questions from this particular topic. But before moving into that particular segment, we should discuss about the important headlines, right? So the first one is industrial output growth in the month of May 2026 has reached all-time high of 5 months. So it is quite obvious that India's manufacturing sector is doing quite well. Right, India's manufacturing sector is doing quite well, and a 5-month high growth of 5.1% in May 2026 has been achieved, and this particular data was presented by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, right? So let's start. So while releasing the data, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation also said that it has further tweaked the new series of the indexed industrial production, which has been first released on June 1. So basically, we know this, that the government has changed the baseline for counting the production output growth, and the new baseline is 2022-2023. So, I mean, the major increase has been witnessed in multiple sectors like electronic goods, then also in the sector of, yeah, mainly it is in the electronic manufacturing where India exports a lot of, or India manufactures a lot of items, and we also export a lot of electronic items, right? So that is one major contribution. The always remember this, that when we talk about industrial output growth data, it is always released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, right? So nothing relevant in that particular context. Good morning, Arpana, right? So let's continue with our session now. सो नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. अब 2 पॉइंट इसमें याद रखिएगा कि गवर्नमेंट ने जो बेस लाइन था उसको चेंज करके बेस ईयर जो था उसको 2022-23 कर दिया है, और जो इंडस्ट्रियल आउटपुट ग्रोथ है, इट हैज रीच्ड एन ऑल टाइम हाई इन द मंथ ऑफ मे 2026 ऑफ 5.1% ग्रोथ रही है, और इट इज ऑल टाइम हाई इन द लास्ट 5 months, right? Now moving on to the next point that we should discuss. US and Iran pauses strikes but disagree on dialogue. That's why I'm quite skeptical about this peace deal which has been signed by United States of America and Islamic State of Iran, and why I'm too skeptical about this particular deal. Though a memorandum of understanding has been signed by both the countries, but these two countries are reluctant on attacking each other. Earlier, the strike was opened by Iran on a commercial vessel which was passing through the Strait of Hormuz, and the subsequent and the retaliatory strike was conducted by United States of America. फिर उसके बाद बहरीन में जो भी यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका के इंपॉर्टेंट मिलिट्री इंस्टॉलेशंस थे उस पर अटैक किया किसने? ईरान ने, राइट? सो दिस all these things are pointing towards one important aspect, that there is a lot of mistrust when we talk about United States of America and Iran. And when there is an element of mistrust between the countries, this is very unlikely that they might have a peace deal, because earlier the memorandum of understanding which was signed on 21st of June 2026, 21st of June 2026, as per this memorandum of understanding, United States of America and Iran will halt military strikes on each other for next 60 days. So this memorandum of understanding was set to expire on 21st of August 2026, and within this span of these 60 days, both countries were supposed to negotiate a proper peace deal. And we know this, that on 21st of June 2026, this interim memorandum of understanding was signed in Geneva, Switzerland, right? So, I mean, 1 week has passed and still there is no progress. All these representatives were set to meet for the next round of talks in Doha, but Iran has denied that. They have said that they will not participate in the further round of negotiations at this point of time. Though Mr. Donald Trump has said, उनको जो कहना था उन्होंने बोल दिया that there will be no attack from each other. We will not attack each other, and we will have the next round of negotiations. But Iran has effectively denied that we will not participate in any upcoming round of negotiations, right? Then we have two important news pieces that we have to discuss. So 3 days back we discussed about the fact that Mr. Suvendu Adhikari, the newly elected chief minister of West Bengal, has dropped a hint that sooner or later West Bengal will have a uniform civil code. And finally, Mr. Suvendu Adhikari has said that a high-level committee has been constituted under the chairmanship of Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. Please remember this name. Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai is one of the most important personalities of 2026. She has been the chairperson of every state. जिस भी स्टेट ने यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड ड्राफ्ट करने के लिए कमिटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट किए, द चेयरमैन ऑफ एवरी कमिटी इज जस्टिस रंजना प्रकाश देसाई. वेदर इट्स उत्तराखंड और गुजरात और असम और छत्तीसगढ़ और Madhya Pradesh or West Bengal. All these 6 states are BJP ruled states, and all these 6 states have brought uniform civil code. At least bill ke stage mein to aa hi chuka hai. And finally, Mr. Suvendu Adhikari had said that a high level committee has been constituted under the chairmanship of the former Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai. And not only uniform civil code, she is the chairperson of a lot of things. She is also the chairperson of the Delimitation Commission of India. She is also the chairperson of 8th Central Pay Commission, right? And she is the chairperson of the Uniform Civil Code, the draft committee of Uniform Civil Code of all the 6 states. These 6 states are Uttarakhand, सबसे पहले जहां पर आया 27 जून 2025 को, फिर गुजरात में भी इंप्लीमेंट हो चुका है, आसाम ने बिल पास कर दिया है, मध्य प्रदेश ने कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट कर दी है, 60 डेज के अंडर कमेटी को अपनी रिपोर्ट सबमिट करनी होगी, छत्तीसगढ़ ने भी कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट कर दी है, एंड इन द लेटेस्ट डेवलपमेंट वेस्ट बंगाल हैज आल्सो कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड द कमेटी. तो दीज आर द 6 स्टेट्स लेटेस्ट में जो यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड से रिलेटेड है. और इन 6 स्टेट्स में चेयरपर्सन कौन है? Ranjana Prakash Desai, right? He added that Adivasis, indigenous peoples, Kurmis, and other recognized ancient tribal communities of the state would be excluded from the proposed law. So initially, the proposal or initial hint from the government is absolutely clear that the tribal communities of the states, the indigenous tribal communities of the state, would be outside or would be beyond the scope of uniform civil code. तो ऐसा हर एक स्टेट में ये स्पेशल फीचर है that no state has included Adivasi or tribal communities within the scope of uniform civil code, right? And Article 44 of the Indian Constitution, Part 4, which is DPSP, Article 44, Part 4, Article 44 talks about the uniform civil code, but Article 44 students per se वो यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड डिफाइन नहीं करता. इट ओनली सेज दिस दैट एवरी स्टेट इन इंडिया शैल endeavor to have a uniform civil code, right? So this is entirely about this particular news piece. Now moving on to the next one. So a radio tagged white rummed vulture electrocuted. So जो लोग जनवरी से इस न्यूज़ को कवर कर रहे हैं या दिसंबर से जो लोग इस न्यूज़ को कवर कर रहे हैं, you must be aware about the fact that this white vulture, it was a radio tagged white rummed vulture. It was released in the month of December 2025 and it has been electrocuted in Mudumalai Tiger Reserve in the Nilgiri district of Tamil Nadu. So बस 2-3 चीजें याद रखनी है. White rummed vulture का scientific name is Gyps bengalensis. Gyps bengalensis is the scientific name of white rubbed vulture. It was released in Mudu Malai Tiger Reserve and it is electrocuted. another disadvantage of development, right? It was a very important, it is actually a very important news, right? Now अब जब हम ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड, जो लोगों को ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड का इशू पता होगा, दे मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट द फैक्ट कि ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड्स के साथ में भी जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट की थी, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यही बोल दिया था कि ये जो पूरा 75,000 80,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर का एरिया है, आप इसमें जितने भी ओवरहेड ये क्या बोलते हैं इसको, खंभे हैं या जो पावर लाइन्स हैं, इनको आपको क्या करना है, इन सारे ओवरहेड पावर लाइन्स को आपको अंडरग्राउंड करना है, राइट? सो दिस इज वन इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज दैट वी शुड डिस्कस. So Haryana and Rajasthan have signed an agreement in the presence of Union Minister Amit Shah for the construction and implementation of the Yamuna Water Project, officials said. So this agreement was signed between the Chief Minister of Rajasthan and Haryana. And who is the Chief Minister of Rajasthan? So Chief Minister of Rajasthan is Mr. Bhajan Lal Sharma, and Mr. Naib Singh Saini is the Chief Minister of for हरियाणा. सो इन दोनों लोगों ने यमुना इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्रोजेक्ट को लेकर के एक agreement signed किया, and this agreement was signed in the presence of Mr. Amit Shah, and both the leaders have termed this particular agreement as a historic agreement. So moving on to the next point. So in India, it is quite a problem that this interstate water dispute, right? A few days back we discussed about water project in the Tungabhadra basin, not a water project where the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka came together to solve the water sharing issue related to the Tungabhadra basin, right? Now, Sabrimala gold theft report finds conspiracy by TDB staff. So, right at this moment, we have two important temple disputes that are going on. The first one is the older one. It is related to the gold theft case at Sabrimala temple. Now, the report by the committee, a report by the special investigation team has discovered that the staff of Travancore Devasam Board. Now, what is Travancore Devasam Board? So basically, students, Travancore Devasam Board is the trust which manages the day-to-day affair of the Sabrimala temple. It is a trust, right? TDB. तो जो TDB के officials थे, those officials were involved in this particular conspiracy, and this entire conspiracy was orchestrated by the staff of Sabrimala temple. Sabrimala temple, again, students, it is very important because there was a review petition in the Supreme Court regarding the entry of women aged between 10 to 50 in the Sabrimala temple, right? Young Indian Lawyers Association versus State of Kerala, the judgment was delivered in 2018, and in that particular judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court of India banned the entry of women aged between, allowed the entry of women aged between 10 to 50 in the Sabrimala temple. Sabrimala temple में Lord Ayappa की पूजा की जाती है, and it is a belief that Lord Ayappa is a celibate god. वो क्या करते हैं? वो नास्तिक ब्रह्मचर्य को वो फॉलो करने वाले गॉड हैं, एंड इट इज क्वाइट एविडेंट दैट वाज द रीजन व्हाई द एंट्री ऑफ वुमेन एज बिटवीन 10 to 50 was not allowed. But the Supreme Court said that now is the time, we are progressive society, so we should allow the entry of women aged between 10 to 50. Now, in 2026, a review petition was filed in the Supreme Court of India regarding the review of its own judgment. उस पर जो भी हियरिंग थी, या रिव्यू पिटिशन पे जो भी हियरिंग थी, वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कंक्लूड कर दिया इन द मंथ ऑफ अप्रैल 2026. द जजमेंट हैज बीन रिजर्व्ड बाय द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया, एंड वी आर वेटिंग फॉर द जजमेंट. सो दीज आर टू इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स व्हाई Sabrimala is extremely important for us. Please remember one particular abbreviation, and what is that particular abbreviation? TDB, Travancore Devasam Board. With reference to Sabrimala temple, students, TDB is very important. Travancore Devasam Board is the authority which regulates the day-to-day affairs of the Sabrimala temple. And yesterday we also had a very little or a brief discussion about a juristic person. कि juristic person क्या होते हैं? तो juristic person के बारे में मैं आप लोगों को बताता चलूँ. I am a CLAT aspirant, and now I'm in class 11th class. I'm in 11th class. So, right. So at the end of the class, we can discuss about this particular fact, that how to approach the preparation of CLAT 2028. Students who are in CLAT, who are still in class 11th, right? So अभी juristic person के बारे में हमने cover किया था कि juristic person को हम हिंदू लॉ के अंडर हम किसी भी रिलीजियस डाइटी को जो कॉन्सिक्रेटेड है, जिसका प्राण प्रतिष्ठान हो चुका है, उसको हम बेसिकली एक जुरिस्टिक पर्सन मानते हैं, राइट? सो बाय यूजिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर लॉजिक, लॉर्ड अयप्पा इज ऑल्सो अ जुरिस्टिक पर्सन, और लॉर्ड अयप्पा वुड बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ माइनर अंडर हिंदू लॉ, राइट? तो उनके जो डे टू डे अफेयर्स होते हैं उस रिलीजियस डाइटी को, उसको मैनेज करने के लिए जो ट्रस्ट होता है, दैट एक्ट एज अ गार्जियन, राइट? तो वो जो ट्रस्ट होता है उसका कोई ओनरशिप नहीं होता है उस प्रॉपर्टी पे, उन असेट्स पे। ट्रस्ट इज ओनली द केयर टेकर ऑफ द एंटायर property or the entire assets, right? So now moving on to the next point, maintenance not must when wife earns more, said by the Karnataka High Court. So now the Karnataka High Court has passed a very futuristic order where it has said that these trial courts cannot straight away award maintenance to a wife because she files a petition against her husband under various laws, especially when she earns more than her husband. Observe the High Court of Karnataka, right? So basically, the current discussion is about a particular case from Karnataka where a trial court has allowed maintenance to a woman who was earning more than her husband. And in this particular context, Karnataka High Court has made it absolutely clear कि भाई ट्रायल कोर्ट स्ट्रेट अवे ऑर्डर पास नहीं कर सकते गिवन द फैक्ट कि वाइफ ज्यादा अर्न कर रही है हस्बैंड से, राइट? नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, और इसमें ऑलमोस्ट 20,000 का मेंटेनेंस अलाउ किया था ट्रायल कोर्ट ने, और जो डिमांड की गई थी वो थी 1,13,000 रुपीज की, राइट? नाउ दिस इज एक्चुअली इंपॉर्टेंट, इट इज रिलेटेड टू इंडियाज डिफेंस infrastructure, that Indian Army has or is raising a dedicated battalion. It is known as Baj Battalion. Now, what is this Baj Battalion? Baj battalions. Indian Army is raising Baj battalions. Indian Army is raising Baj battalions to enhance its remotely piloted RPA, रिमोटली पायलटेड एयरक्राफ्ट को ऑपरेट करने के लिए द इंडियन आर्मी इज रेजिंग अ डेडिकेटेड बटालियन टर्म्ड एज बाज बटालियन. इट वुड बी अ डेडिकेटेड विंग ऑफ द इंडियन आर्मी जो it will operate drone operations, it will handle drone operations and remotely piloted aircraft, the entire end-to-end operations of the remotely piloted aircraft. Now we know this, students, that the current era is era of unarmed aerial vehicle, जिनको हम UAV बोलते हैं, जिनको हम drones बोलते हैं. The current era is of drones. Now you need a dedicated agency or you need a dedicated wing to operate these drones and remotely piloted aircraft. So to achieve the same objective, the Indian Army is raising a dedicated battalion named as Baj battalions. तो याद रखिएगा, in 2026 there are two important battalions. The first one is Bhairav battalion, जो पहली बार जिसने 77th आर्मी डे परेड जब हुआ था जयपुर में, इट वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम व्हेन आर्मी डे परेड वाज हैपनिंग आउटसाइड अ कैंटोनमेंट एरिया. तो वहां पर भैरव बटालियन ने सबसे पहली बार मार्च पास्ट में पार्टिसिपेट किया था. एंड दिस इज द सेकंड बटालियन. इट इज अ डेडिकेटेड बटालियन टू ऑपरेट अनआर्म्ड एरियल व्हीकल्स एंड टू ऑपरेट रिमोटली पायलटेड एयरक्राफ्ट. जो क्या करते हैं कि आप थाउजेंड्स ऑफ किलोमीटर अवे से रिमोटली ऑपरेटेड ड्रोन्स को या एयरक्राफ्ट्स को या मिलिट्री एयरक्राफ्ट को अगर ऑपरेट करना होगा, उसका जो एंड टू एंड साइकिल होगा वो मैनेज कौन करेगा? बाज बटालियन, राइट? नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. Right now, the West Bengal Assembly on Monday, they have passed a very controversial law. I mean, one might say that these laws basically feels like that we are in the British era, but again, it is a reality, and these laws have been passed by West Bengal. And no, the main objective of these two laws is per se it's very important, but the means which have been provided under these two laws are quite debatable. And why I am saying this, because if you look at this particular article, then The West Bengal Assembly on Monday passed two controversial laws providing for detention of anti-socials for a year and restricting access to a lawyer for such persons and payment of compensation by those accused of damaging private or public property. The West Bengal Public Safety and Control of Anti-Social Activities Bill 2026 empowers the government to detain a person if it deems necessary to stop future anti-social activity for almost a year. It said the government can detain those generally reputed to be desperate and dangerous to the community. Now, we have certain fundamental rights in our country, and one of the most important fundamental right which has been given to the people of this country or the citizens of this country is the article remedies provided under article 32. Now, legal aid or access to an advocate is a fundamental right, right? A person needs a legal representative when he has been detained or arrested by the police authority. Now, under the West Bengal Public Safety and Control of Antisocial Activities Bill 2026, a person can be kept in custody for a period of 1 year. आपने अगर कोई एंटी सोशल एक्टिविटी किया, आप पे किसी तरीके, इफ देर आर सर्टेन एलिगेशन दैट यू वर इन्वॉल्व इन द कमीशन ऑफ सम सॉर्ट ऑफ एंटी सोशल एक्टिविटी, then the authorities can detain you or the authorities can keep you in the police custody for a period of 1 whole year without providing you with the lawyer or without providing you the legal representation. And along with that the person has to pay the compensation for the damage which has been caused to the public or the private property. So allowing compensation is fine. I mean, आपने अगर किसी public या private property को damage किया, आपको compensation देना पड़ेगा, that is absolutely fine and gettable. But किसी को ये बोलना कि भाई हम आपको detain कर रहे हैं बट हम आपको कोई advocate provide नहीं करेंगे next 1 year तक because you are a threat to the society. Now let's understand, let's correlate the point. In India, we have an adversarial justice system where a person is innocent until proven guilty. But this has been the mindset of society, our society, that when certain allegations are raised against a particular person, the society always assumes that that particular person is a convict, right? So a person is innocent until proven guilty, and the proper platform to prove the guilt of a person is not the police station but it is the court, right? And at the end of the day, you need legal representation to fight your case in the court of law, right? Now the West Bengal government is saying that if a person is involved in the commission of some sort of anti-social activities, हम भाई आपको 1 साल के लिए लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेशन ही नहीं देंगे. व्हाट अबाउट फंडामेंटल राइट? फंडामेंटल राइट वेस्ट बंगाल गवर्नमेंट भी लाइक फंडामेंटल राइट तो लग रहा है खो गया है जी, फंडामेंटल राइट तो मिल ही नहीं रहा है, राइट? सो दीज आर द लॉज. I know that this particular law will be challenged in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will, it will say we have to remove the controversial provisions. But again, we are living in the 21st century and we boast the idea of fundamental rights very much in our country, right? But at the end of the day, the government is saying कि भाई हम आपको 1 साल तक के लिए legal representation ही नहीं provide करेंगे. What about Article 21, which talks about no one can take your life and personal liberty except the procedure established by law? What if the procedure established by law per se violates fundamental right of an individual? Then Article 21 will supersede that particular procedure as well. And Article 22 talks about the rights of an arrested person. Article 22 talks about the rights of an arrested person. And right to know the grounds of arrest and right to have an advocate, right to have a legal representative are two most important aspects of Article 22. And Article 22 is a part of fundamental rights, and fundamental right falls within the basic structure of the Constitution of India. So no specific piece of legislation can or shall supersede Article 22. तो ये particular law फिर finally ये challenge होगा court of law में, and court of law will declare whatever it wants to. अभी इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ब्रॉडकास्टिंग मिनिस्टर जो है अश्विनी वैष्णव जी, he has launched an initiative or he has set up a panel to boost the film industry, production, distribution and technological integration. He has launched a dedicated panel to find out the opportunities or find out the ways in which there could be a push to the film industry. And Mr. Prasoon Joshi has been appointed as the chair of this particular panel. याद रखिएगा, प्रसून जोशी जोशी has been appointed as the chair of the panel constituted by Ministry of I&B. Ministry of I&B is Information and Broadcasting, जिसके मिनिस्टर कौन है? मिस्टर अश्विनी वैष्णव. And what is the main objective of this particular panel? Boost फिल्म इंडस्ट्री. अब जैसा बॉलीवुड में फिल्म बन रहा है, ऐसे बहुत सारे पैनल्स की जरूरत पड़ने वाली है, राइट? अभी आप लोग धुरंधर 1, धुरंधर 2 आ रही मत बोलने लगेगा, बिकॉज धुरंधर हैज डन सम फिनोमिनल जॉब एट द बॉक्स ऑफिस. बट अगेन, this is something which we have to understand. This high level panel which has been constituted by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to boost the film industry. The chairperson of this particular high level panel is Mr. Prasoon Joshi, right? Now we'll move to the next point. In another important development, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the member of parliament from the Rajya Sabha, has been appointed as the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge is the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, and he has also formally assumed or taken oath as the chairperson. So he is Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. He is very old, but yet again he is a very seasoned politician, and his term was set to expire on 26th June, but again his tenure has been extended because he has been reappointed as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, and he has also taken oath as the leader of opposition, right? And Akal Takht, has it's a highest Sikh temporal authority. इन्होंने डिमांड किया है जो अप्रैल 2026 में द जगत जोत श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब सत्कार अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2026 पास किया गया था. The government should make certain amendments in this particular act. और ये अकाल तख्त क्यों डिमांड कर रहा है कि क्यों इस लॉ में चेंज करना चाहिए? The authorities are demanding why this particular law should be changed because of one particular reason, and the reason is अकाल तख्त इसलिए डिमांड कर रहा है because it is against the sentiments of the Sikh community. So if there is something which is contrary to the sentiments of the Sikh community, then it should be duly changed by the government of Punjab, led by Mr. भगवंत सिंह मान, who is currently under a lot of scrutiny because उनका एक वीडियो बहुत वायरल हो रहा है. He is making claims कि that particular video is doctored, but again the final report is yet to be get approval, or we are waiting for the final decision. And Akal Takht has demanded the resignation of Mr. Bhagwant Singh Maan, and he was also asked to present before Akal Takht. And Akal Takht is a very powerful body. It actually regulates the entire affairs of Sikh religion. And basically they have demanded कि भाई अभी आपको क्या करना है, जो आपने गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2026 पास किया था उसमें आपको certain changes करने पड़ेंगे because certain things are against the sentiments of the Sikh community, right? So now moving on to the next point. Right, now moving on to the next point, which we should discuss. Now we are in the editorial section of today's analysis. आज छोटी छोटी बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ थी, इस वजह से हमें ऊपर ज़्यादा टाइम लग गया. Reforms 3.0 towards the Bharat rate of growth. Now, what is the idea of Bharat rate of growth? Anyone? What is Bharat rate of growth? What is Bharat rate of growth? Anyone who'd like to answer the question, what is Bharat rate of growth? So Bharat growth rate is basically a concept where it is believed that Indian economy will grow at a rate of somewhere between 7.3 to 7.9%. It is known as Bharat rate of growth, and Bharat rate of growth is extremely important if India wants to become a developed nation with a GDP of 30 trillion US dollars by 2047. This is a very futuristic target that India has set for itself, that India wants to become a $30 trillion economy by 2047. And to achieve this particular milestone, India has to achieve the Bharat rate of growth, which says this, that in our economy has to grow where somewhere between 7.3 to 7.9%, right? So when India got independence uh, on 15th of August 1947, the first 4.5 decades, or the first 45 years till 1991, were very, very low for the Indian economy, because during these 4.5 decades, the Indian economy was growing at a rate of 3%, and it has been triggered as Hindu rate of growth. Hindu rate of growth. Now you might have a question: what is Hindu rate of growth? Anyone who'd like to answer the question? What is Hindu rate of growth? Right. So this term Hindu rate of growth was coined by a very famous economist. Hindu rate of growth was coined by a very famous economist, Mr. Raj Krishna, in 1978. And Hindu rate of growth means sluggish or a low, very low economic growth at 3% or below 3%, right? Or first 4.5 decades of our independence witnessed an economic growth of 3%. Now, moving on to the next point. Now, in 1991, India witnessed a very drastic change when we introduced the policy of LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Post this LPG policy, the dynamics of Indian economy has changed a lot. And what are the most important points that we should keep in our mind while having this particular discussion? So the most important points that we should know about having this particular discussion, that how India can leverage so many aspects or so many things to achieve the Bharat rate of growth. And one of the most important of them is artificial intelligence. Right now, why artificial intelligence is very important? Because 21st century, a lot of things will be dependent on the usage of artificial intelligence, that how a country is effectively utilizing artificial intelligence. Now at the same time, students, we should understand one more thing, that we don't spend a lot of money on the research and development of our infrastructure. In the with the context, or given the context of research and development, we only spent 0.54% of our GDP on the research and development, where the global average is 2%. राइट, ग्लोबल एवरेज से हम वन थर्ड स्पेंड कर रहे हैं रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट में. China spends approximately 2.4%. United States of America spent almost 3.5%. South Korea spent almost 4.9%, and Israel spent over 5%, which is 5.4%. And the amount of money that we spent on our, research and development is an indicator of that how fast your economy will grow. Look at United States of America. It spends 3.5%. It is a $30 trillion, $32 trillion economy, and it spends almost 3.5%. China is the second largest economy with the net value of $21 trillion. It spends approximately 2.42%, right? इतना बड़ा इकोनॉमी होने के बाद भी इनका परसेंटेज हमसे ज्यादा है, तो ओवरऑल अमाउंट तो हमसे बहुत ज्यादा होगा. एंड वी आर अ $4.5 trillion इकोनॉमी, वी ओनली स्पेंड 0.65%. if India wants to achieve something very meaningful, then we have to spend approximately 3 to 4% of our GDP on the research and development. If we spend more on research and development, then we might, when we will invent new kind of technologies. With the invention of new kind of technologies, हम अपने manufacturing sector को boost कर सकते हैं, हम अपने energy sector को boost कर सकते हैं, and the boost of manufacturing and energy sector will ensure that India achieve the Bharat rate of growth, right? So that's why investment in research and development is very important. Now the next important point is, जितने लोग आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस यूज करते होंगे, दे मस्ट बी अवेयर अबाउट द फैक्ट दैट इफ यू वांट टू यूज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, देन यू नीड सर्टेन टोकन्स. टोकन्स आर बेसिकली, जैसे हम बचपन में गेम खेलने जाते थे, वो टेकन खेलने जाते थे प्ले स्टेशन सेंटर्स पे, तो वहां पर क्या होता था, टोकन सिस्टम होता था. यू गिव 10 रुपीज, आपको 2 टोकन मिलते थे, फिर आप उसमें टेकन गेम खेलने लग जाते थे मशीन में, राइट? तो वैसा ही कुछ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस भी है. अगर आप आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का किसी स्पेसिफिक प्लेटफॉर्म को यूज कर रहे हैं, सो यूज ऑल दोज फीचर्स, और टू यूज द यूनिक फीचर्स ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर प्लेटफॉर्म, you need those AI tokens. Those AI tokens you get in the exchange of certain payments. So the author of this article, Mr. Shrivats Krishna, is also suggesting a fact that Indian government should allocate certain sum of money for purchasing these AI tokens, right? क्योंकि अभी हम इंडिया में इतना कोई सॉलिड या बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग AI मॉडल हम नहीं बना पाए जिसको गवर्नमेंट बहुत चीप रेट पे लोगों को प्रोवाइड कर सके. America has developed Chat GPT. They has also Mythos. They have Fable 5. They have multiple AI uh, products which are used by the entire world, right? So the author of this particular article is suggesting that India should allocate a certain sum of its total budget for purchase of these AI tokens, and eventually these AI tokens will help in the research and development of our country, research and development of various kind of things. Now, India should announce a national AI token policy and implement it over the next 24 months. It should begin by signing public-private partnership agreements with AWS, Google, and Microsoft to establish a multi-vendor sovereign computer framework. The first pilot should provide unlimited research token to the top 20 IITs and ISCs. So basically, the main focus of the author of this article is on the research and development. And to boost research and development, the author is suggesting the top 20 IITs and Indian Institute of Sciences must be provided with unlimited AI tokens so that the scholars at these institutions can do a lot of research and development. Then we should also invest certain sum of our money on building a very robust semiconductor infrastructure. Semiconductor infrastructure, chip वगैरह manufacture करने के लिए, right? So these are the certain suggestions of the author of this article, and we should also have a very strong GPU infrastructure. We don't have at this point of time. We don't have. हमारे कंट्री में जितने ज़्यादा GPUs हैं उससे 5 times ज़्यादा तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ SpaceX के पास GPUs हैं, right? So this is something that we have to understand. Preparing for India China's missile challenge. Now this article is important with the recent news items pointing out towards the fact that China is building a very, or China is installing a lot of launch pads, hypersonic missile launch pads alongside the line of actual control. Now, students, line of actual control is the border which separates India and China, and it spans around 3,488 किलोमीटर. और हम अचानक से ये चीज़ क्यों डिस्कस करने लगे? क्योंकि अभी there are certain tribal communities from Arunachal Pradesh. They have made a very serious claim that slowly and slowly China has started to occupy certain territories of India. अभी इसको काउंटर करने के लिए किरण रिजिजू जी ने एक स्टेटमेंट भी दिया that the situation is better as compared to 2014, because the benchmark for Bharatiya Janata Party is 2014, the situation before 2014, because in 2014 they came to power. तो तब से अभी बहुत changes आ चुके हैं, roads बन रहे हैं, bridges बन रहे हैं, a lot of things are taking place, so it will take some time. But when we talk about these missile infrastructure, then China has a very advanced military infrastructure, and there is no doubt about it. I mean, it is good to accept the fact about the power of your enemy, and China is a long standing enemy of our country. We are trying to resolve our issues, bilateral issues with China, but China knows that it is actually way more powerful than India. Its economy is almost 5 times the size of the Indian economy, so we don't stand a chance against China. But again, at the same time, we are investing a lot of money in the defense aspect of our country, and that is a huge progress for India. हम बहुत सारी चीजें मेक इन इंडिया के aspect में cover कर रहे हैं. But again, that point that we have to understand that China has a missile superiority, and they have a very long range missiles as well. अब इसमें क्या अलग अलग मिसाइल्स हैं, कहाँ तक उनकी कैपेसिटी है, ये सब आप पढ़ करके कोई बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है नहीं इसका. बस बॉर्डर याद रखिएगा, जो बॉर्डर स्टेट शेयर करते हैं वो याद रखिएगा. दैट्स इट. नाउ on the delay in India US trade deal. Now we have discussed it multiple times that that India and United States of America are continuously discussing a trade deal since February 2025. So what happened on 20th January 2025, Donald Trump took oath as the 47th president of United States of America. Right? There are certain points which will give you a clarity that why there is a delay in this interim trade deal. Donald J. Trump on 20th January. Right? Now moving on. थोड़ा सा क्लियरली इसको समझ लेते हैं. On 20th January 2025, Donald J. Trump became 47th president of United States of America. India started negotiating a trade deal from the month of February 2025. But what happened? On 2nd April 2025, Donald Trump declared 2nd April 2025 as Liberation Day, and unilateral tariffs were imposed on India along with some other countries as well, and the initial tariffs which were imposed on Indian goods and services were at the rate of 25%. Now initial the tariffs were at 25%, but these tariffs were increased to 50% plus 25% additional tariff. And why this plus additional 25% tariff? Because India was buying a lot of Russian crude oil at discounted price, and it was said that India is actually misusing the powers, or India is actually misusing the market to finance Russia-Ukraine war. Now this particular tariff of 25% were imposed by using the powers given under International Emergency Economic Powers Act. तो 50% टैरिफ इम्पोज कर दिया, और इसके बाद क्या हुआ कि इंडिया और यूएस के बीच में जो ट्रेड डील नेगोशिएट हो रही थी, दैट ट्रेड डील वाज halted. नाउ what happened, that finally India agreed that it will reduce the import of Russian petrochemical products. So eventually क्या हुआ कि finally it was decided by America that it will reduce tariff on the Indian goods and services. तो पहले 25% टैरिफ ये पूरे कम किए, और जो 25% टैरिफ थे इनको कम करके 18% कर दिया. राइट तो वापस से एक ट्रेड डील नेगोशिएट होना वापस से स्टार्ट हुआ. फिर एक ऐसा क्लेम आता है दैट इंडिया हैज प्रॉमिस्ड दैट इट विल बाय गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज वर्थ $500 billion over a period of next 5 years, which makes an average of $100 billion per year. Right? So now after this particular stand, or this particular clause of this particular trade deal was out, Indians were obviously quite not happy. But again, the Indian government said कि अगर हम एक बार trade deal negotiate कर लेते हैं, so to achieve this milestone would not be a difficult task. फिर इसके बाद क्या हुआ कि 20 फरवरी से वापस से ट्रेड डील हमने नेगोशिएट करना स्टार्ट की, जब यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका के सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका declared the tariffs imposed by Trump administration by using the powers of International Emergency Economic Powers Act as unconstitutional और invalid. वापस से हमने ट्रेड डील नेगोशिएट की, बट मीनवाइल अमेरिका ने क्या किया, 10% टैरिफ और इम्पोज कर दिए हर एक कंट्री पे। 10% टैरिफ 24 फरवरी 2026 को ट्रंप अनाउंस करते हैं। और ये जो इस बार टैरिफ इम्पोज किए गए, दीज टैरिफ्स आर इम्पोज्ड ऑन एवरी ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर, और ये बोला गया कि वी हैव अ डेफिसिट ऑफ बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट, टू रिड्यूस द डेफिसिट ऑफ बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट वी आर इम्पोजिंग दिस 10% tariff for the next 150 days. But again, this particular policy was also challenged, and an international court of trade in United States of America declared this particular policy as invalid and unconstitutional as well. Now what happened? Now the next important point, अभी ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन भी हार नहीं मान रहा है और कोर्ट्स भी अपने पे एडमेंट है। द कोर्ट और द ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इनिशिएटेड एन इंक्वायरी अंडर सेक्शन 301 ऑफ ट्रेड एक्ट of 1974. And what was section 301 of the Trades Act of 1974? Section 301 was that if any country is using child labor, if any country is using child labor or forced labor to manufacture goods and services which are exported to America, then United States of America can impose certain tariffs on those countries. So initially अभी तक ये समझ में आ रहा that a tariff of 12.5% could be imposed on India, because India along with 54 other nations are under an investigation that they are using the child labor or forced labor to produce goods and services which are being exported to United States of America. Now India will present its final stand on 7th of July. Indian representation would be finally presented on 7th of July. कि इंडिया क्या सोचता है इस पर्टिकुलर डिसीजन के बारे में. सो and at the same time we are also negotiating a trade deal with the United States of America, and the most important sector that India wants to protect is agriculture sector. We have been always called a krishi pradhan desh, an agricultural dominant economy, a krishi pradhan desh. A lot of people in our country are dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. So Indian government wants to protect this sensitive sector of our economy. And this is the main problem why we are not in a situation to negotiate a trade deal with United States of America, right? So now, so you will see a lot of things. ये 15% 10% tariff की बात हम लोग already discuss कर चुके हैं. फिर अर्लियर राउंड ऑफ टॉक्स में 2026 में फाइनल हो गए. फिर ट्रेड डील डिले क्यों हुई? क्योंकि ट्रंप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने इतने सारे टैरिफ इम्पोज किए, 50% 25% टैरिफ इम्पोज किए. ठीक है, फिर किस तरीके से जो अप्रैल 2025 में टैरिफ इम्पोज किए गए थे वो, फिर 12.5% का टैरिफ सोच रही है अभी यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका टू इम्पोज दिस टैरिफ ऑन 54 कंट्रीज इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया, राइट? सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इंडियन रिप्रेजेंटेशन विल बी फाइनली प्रेजेंटेड ऑन 7th of July, right? So there is a delay, but at the same time we may expect trade deals very soon, because recently the United States Trade Representative, USTR representative, Mr. Jamieson was in India. The USTR representative, US Trade Representative, Mr. Jamieson was in India to negotiate the trade deal, and it has been hinted by Sergio Gore, the American ambassador to India, that India might sign a trade deal very soon. Now, अब scam compensation को लेकर के RBI has changed certain rules. अब ये rules change क्या है? So basically in Wednesday amendments, a draft version which was released on, अगर किसी के साथ में कोई cyber scam होता है, so now the individuals are eligible for a compensation. They are eligible for a compensation of up to rupees 50,000 or the 85% of their total amount once in their lifetime. और अगर 25,000 का कॉम्पनसेशन तब मिलेगा अगर किसी पर्सन को 25,000 से लेकर के 29,412 से लेकर के 50,000 के बीच का अगर लॉस होता है, then they can receive a compensation of 25,000. It's a one-time compensation and it will be processed between 45 to 60 days, and you have to file a complaint with the Reserve Bank of India. Now, why is India's 12 operational nuclear warheads really mean? So recently, students, we covered a very important news item that, CPRI, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, released its, yearbook on nuclear warheads, और उसमें ये पता चला that India has a total of 190 nuclear weapons, and out of these 190 nuclear weapons, we have deployed 12 nuclear weapons. Now, last year, India witnessed one of the most tragic terrorist attack since मुंबई टेरर अटैक. मुंबई टेरर अटैक के बाद वो सबसे ट्रैजिक टेररिस्ट अटैक हुआ इंडिया पे, एंड 26 इंडिविजुअल्स वर किल्ड इन पहलगाम. एंड after that, the government of India was very protective about its own territory. So we deployed 12 nuclear warheads out of total 190 nuclear warheads. Right. So currently Russia has the maximum number of nuclear weapons. Second पे कौन है? Second पे है United States of America. Right, students? Now the next important point is that when we talk about nuclear weapons, India has a very important policy, and it is known as NFU. What is NFU? No first use policy. Now the importance of no first use policy is great, or it's very relevant for India, because हमारी जो दो neighboring countries हैं, China and Pakistan, both are nuclear powered countries, both have nuclear weapons, and we don't share good bond with these two countries. We don't have any bond with Pakistan, and our relations with China are also very strained, right? And both these countries are nuclear powered country. So India always has to on its feet when it comes to national security. इसीलिए हमने 12 न्यूक्लियर हेड्स को हमने डिप्लॉय कर रखा है. मतलब जिस टाइम पर हम चाहें इन 12 न्यूक्लियर वॉर हेड्स को हम क्या कर सकते हैं? फायर कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज वन इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट. 12 न्यूक्लियर वॉर हेड्स जिनको हमने डिप्लॉय कर रखा है. तो इसका मतलब ये है दैट इंडिया इज एक्चुअली थिंकिंग अबाउट द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी अलॉट. और इंडिया इज ऑल्सो अ न्यूक्लियर ट्रायड. न्यूक्लियर ट्रायड का मतलब क्या होता है? दैट व्हेन अ कंट्री इज एबल टू लॉन्च न्यूक्लियर मिसाइल्स फ्रॉम एयर, sea and land, then that particular country becomes a nuclear triad, and India is a nuclear triad. हम सबमरीन से भी, हम एयरक्राफ्ट से भी, और हम लैंड से भी मिसाइल लॉन्चर्स के थ्रू हम न्यूक्लियर वेपन लॉन्च करने की कैपेबिलिटी रखते हैं. So Andy Barham is said to become the new prime minister of United Kingdom after Mr. Keir Starmer resigned from his post. Now Iran to get $6 billion in frozen assets from Qatar. So Qatar has agreed that it will transfer $6 billion, or it will provide $6 billion to Iran. Those assets were frozen by Qatar. So actually Iran is winning this particular war. उसको तो पैसे भी मिल रहे हैं, उसके जो assets freeze किए थे $6 billion, almost 59,000 crore, they will get those assets back. Israel और Palestine का issue is never ending, और बहुत सारे civilians population की वहाँ पे जान गई है. And the captain of England cricket team, the test captain of England cricket team, Mr. Ben Stokes, has retired from the red ball cricket, और white ball cricket से पहले ही अपना रिटायरमेंट ले चुके हैं. सो फाइनली हैज रिटायर्ड फ्रॉम द रेड बॉल क्रिकेट एज वेल. सो इंडियन वुमेन्स क्रिकेट टीम has crashed out of T20 World Cup. So this is all about today's analysis, guys. Now comes the most interesting segment of everyday's analysis, and this we are talking about the practice questions that we solve every day, right? So today you have to be very attentive while solving these questions, because this is going to be one of the most important topic for CLAT 2027. So and if you like the video, तो आप सब लोगों को ensure करना that you do like the video at the end of the session, because that is quite necessary, right? It actually acts as a dose of motivation for me as well. So let's start with the segment where we'll start with the first question. So the first question that we have before us is, let's start with the first one. Which article of the Constitution of India explicitly provides that the Chief Election Commissioner can only be removed from office in the same manner and on the same grounds as a judge of the Supreme Court? Question number 1. Article 324 clause 2, Article 324 clause 5, Article 325 or 326? Which of the following articles of the Indian Constitution says that the Chief Election Commissioner of India can be removed from his office on the same grounds and in the similar manner as a judge of the Supreme Court? Which of the following is the correct option for question number 1? Anyone who would like to answer question number 1? Question number 1. Question number 1. So for question number 1, students, the correct option is option B. Article 324 clause 5 of the Indian Constitution talks about a provision where it says this, that the judge of the Supreme Court can be removed on the same ground as the Chief Election Commissioner of India can be removed on the same ground and in the same manner as the Supreme Court, as a judge of the Supreme court. So for question number 1, students, the correct option is option B, Article 324, Clause 5. Then we'll move to question number 2. According to the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners appointment and terms of offices Act 2023, the salary and service conditions of the Chief Election Commissioner have been equated with which of the following positions? Judge of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of a High Court, Cabinet Secretary to the Government of India, Union Home Secretary. अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस की जो सैलरी होती है, सॉरी, चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया की जो सैलरी होती है वो कितनी होती है? So it is equivalent to the judge, it is equivalent to the cabinet secretary to the government of India. It is equivalent to the salary of the cabinet secretary to the government of India. So this is something which we have to understand, that the salary is equivalent to the cabinet secretary to the government of India. To initiate a formal removal motion against the chief election commissioner in the Rajya Sabha, the motion must be signed by a minimum of how many members? 50 members, 100 members, 75 members, or 25 members. Please remember this. We are talking about Rajya Sabha. We are not talking about Lok Sabha. So if a removal motion is initiated against the Chief Election Commissioner of India in Rajya Sabha, the motion must be signed by how many members? Question number 3. 50 members, 100 members, 75 members, or 25 members. Question number 2. Question number 3. Anyone who would like to answer question number 3? Okay, no one is willing to answer question number 3. So I'll tell you straight away the answer of question number 3. So for question number 3, students, the correct option is option A. 50 members must sign the motion when it is presented in Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha ke case mein the required strength is 100, and in the case of Rajya Sabha the required strength is 50, right? So this is your question number 3. Now we'll move to question number 4. Under the Judges Inquiry Act 1968, if a removal motion against the Chief Election Commissioner is admitted, a 3-member investigating committee is formed. Which of the following is not a mandated member of this committee? A Supreme Court judge, the Chief Justice of India, a Chief Justice of a High Court, or a distinguished jurist? Question number 4. Which of the following is not a mandatory member of the committee which is constituted under the Judges Inquiry Act 1968 if a removal motion has been initiated against the Chief Election Commissioner? तो Chief Election Commissioner के against जब removal motion initiate होता है और वो motion जब accept हो जाता है, so the presiding officer of the House will constitute a high level committee under the Judges Inquiry Act 1968 to investigate the charges which has been leveled in the removal motion. तो उस कमिटी में मैंडेटरी एक मेंबर कौन सा होना जरूरी नहीं है? अ सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज, द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया, अ चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ अ हाई कोर्ट, और अ डिस्टिंग्विश्ड ज्यूरिस्ट. So it is the Chief Justice of India is not required to be a member of that particular committee. It is not required. It is not mandatory that the Chief Justice of India should be a member of that particular committee. Supreme Court judge हो सकता है, Chief Justice of the High Court हो सकता है, और a distinguished jurist can be a member of that particular committee. Right. Now moving on to question number 5. As per the provisions of the newly enacted Chief Election Commissioners and other election commissioners appointment and terms of offices Act 2023, who serves as the chairperson of the search committee tasked with preparing a panel of names for the selection committee? The Prime Minister, the Union Law Minister, the Cabinet Secretary, or the Chief Justice of India? Now it is a very tricky question. Question number 5. So this search committee is always headed by the cabinet secretary. So search committee क्या करती है? The search committee will identify the potential candidates for the post of the chief election commissioner. और वो पर्टिकुलर जो सर्च कमेटी होती है वो 5 to 6 नेम्स की एक लिस्ट प्रिपेयर करती है और वो उस पर्टिकुलर लिस्ट को प्रेजेंट करते हैं किसके सामने? सिलेक्शन कमेटी के. सिलेक्शन कमेटी में 3 मेंबर्स होते हैं. कौन कौन? प्राइम मिनिस्टर, यूनियन मिनिस्टर एंड लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन. ये होती है सिलेक्शन कमेटी. जो नाम सर्च कमेटी रिकमेंड करती है उन नेम्स पे डिस्कशन करके सिलेक्शन कमेटी ये एक नाम फाइनल करके वो प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया को रिकमेंड करते हैं एंड फाइनली द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया विल अपॉइंट the chief election commissioner of India. So search committee will provide the potential candidates list to the selection committee. Selection committee will have a discussion and it will recommend the name to the president, and ultimately the president of India will appoint the chief election commissioner, right? So this is question number 5. Now we'll move to question number 6. Which landmark 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court in March 2023 briefly mandated the inclusion of the Chief Justice of India in the ECI appointed appointment committee? Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi, Anup Baranwal versus Union of India, Minerva Mills versus Union of India, or ADM Jabalpur versus Shivakant Shukla? So we know this in the month of April 2023, मार्च अप्रैल 2023 द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया पास्ड अ जजमेंट, और उसमें फिर क्या किया था कि जो सिलेक्शन कमेटी होती थी उसमें मैंडेटरी कर दिया था कि चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया भी उसका पार्ट रहेंगे। और इसी पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट को बाईपास करने के लिए, या बाईपास करने के लिए कह लीजिए, या कह लीजिए टू हैव अ प्रॉपर लॉ रिलेटेड टू द अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ द चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया, द पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया इनैक्टेड अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पीस ऑफ लेजिस्लेशन इन द मंथ ऑफ December 2023, which is known as the Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioners Appointment and Terms of Offices Act 2023। तो मार्च 2023 में जो जजमेंट पास किया था, दैट केस वाज अनु बरनवाल वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, जिसमें बहुत 7-8 महीने के लिए चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया वाज आल्सो मेड पार्ट ऑफ द सिलेक्शन कमिटी। नाउ विल मूव टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 7। If the Lok Sabha passes a resolution disapproving the continuation of a national emergency, it requires a simple majority. By contrast, a special majority is needed in Parliament to remove a chief election commissioner. What does a special majority for removing the chief election commissioner entail? So, to remove the chief election commissioner from his office, you need a special majority. Special majority का मतलब क्या होता है? Simple majority of present members plus 2/3 total strength, 2/3 of total membership of the house, majority of the total membership and not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting, absolute majority and total membership only. Which is the correct option, or what does we understand, or what do we know about special majority? So special majority means, students, option C, total majority of the total membership of the house and not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting. Let's take one example कि 545 members हैं लोकसभा में, तो majority of the house का मतलब क्या हुआ, that you need 273 people because to pass the test of majority. अब इसके अलावा मान लीजिए जिस दिन वोटिंग होनी है उस दिन 420 MPs प्रेजेंट थे, तो 2/3 मतलब क्या हो गया, दैट यू नीड 280 MPs. So basically special majority का मतलब होता है majority of the house and 2/3 members present and voting, right? So this is the correct depiction of the special majority, that how special majority works in the case of the removal of the chief election commissioner of India, right? Now we'll move to question number 8. Following the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988, the minimum voting age for elections to the Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly was reduced to 18 years. From which previous age limit? Now it's a very easy question. अगर आपको इस question से कुछ याद रखना है, so please remember this, that through 61st Constitutional Amendment Act 1988, the voting age in India was lowered down to 18 from 21. So for question number 8, the correct option is option B, 61st Constitutional Amendment Act lowered the voting age in India from 21 to 18 years, allowing following the principle of universal adult suffrage, which is enshrined in Article 326 of the Indian Constitution. And what is Article 326? That no one who is less than 18 years of age shall be entitled to register himself or herself in the electoral roll. Now, under the latest changes introduced by the Chief Election Commissioner Act, the final removal of regular election commissioner requires the recommendation of which authority? The Chief Election Commissioner alone, the Selection Committee, the Supreme Court Investigating Bench, or a joint parliamentary panel. So we know that how a Chief Election Commissioner is removed, but when we talk about the removal of the other two election commissioners, because Election Commission of India is basically the Chief Election Commissioner of India and two election commissioners. तो अगर election commissioner को remove करना है ऑफिस से, then you need a prior recommendation. So किसका prior recommendation जरूरी होता है? So you need a prior recommendation. So I'll repeat the question again. Under the latest changes introduced by the Chief Election Commissioner Act of 2023, the final removal of regular election commissioners requires the recommendation of which authority? So for question number 9, students, the correct option is option A. Prior recommendation of the Chief Election Commissioner of India is required if you want to remove the other two election commissioners. Now we'll move to question number 10. The Election Commissioner of India exercises wide residuary plenary powers to ensure free and fair elections. Which of the following elections is explicitly not administered by the Election Commission of India? Option A, by-elections to the Rajya Sabha, elections to the State Legislative Council, elections to the panchayats and municipalities, or elections to the office of the Vice President of India. तो इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया की कौन से इलेक्शन करवाने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होती है? तो फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन द करेक्ट ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन सी, इलेक्शंस टू द पंचायत एंड म्यूनिसिपैलिटीज आर सेट टू बी कंडक्टेड बाय द स्टेट इलेक्शन कमिश्नर. इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ऑफ इंडिया करवाता है इलेक्शंस लोकसभा, राज्यसभा, बाय इलेक्शंस और रेगुलर इलेक्शंस, बाय इलेक्शंस और रेगुलर इलेक्शंस दोनों करवाता है, along with the elections for the offices of president and vice president. Right, so this is all about today's analysis. I hope you must have loved it, and if you have loved it, so then do shower your love in the comment and the on the like button. So this is it from my side. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time, and tomorrow we'll have a very brief discussion about the removal of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, because again a removal motion was initiated against the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Mr. Om Birla. So we'll have a quiz on that. So this is all about today's analysis, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time at 7:45 in the morning. Till then, just keep on revising things, and from today onwards we have 160 days for CLAT 2027. So start preparing yourself for the examination, and we'll see you on 1st of July 2026. Till then, just take a good care of yourself and people around you. Bye bye, and thank you.